The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, good morning, or good day, depending upon where you are in the world, of course, and welcome to Automated Data Import, a follow-up to our successful Turn the Green Screens into Automation webinar on how to remove manual data entry through the use of an IBM iNative and fully automated virtual terminal. Now today we're going to give you insight into how you can automate and pass multiple file types and formats directly to your IBM i with full validation from email or any network, cloud or FTP location using robust and secure solutions developed specifically for the IBM i. This all sounds rather good. I hope you agree. My name is Andrew Nicholson and I'll be your host for the next 30 minutes. I'm joined by Steve Close, our Technical Director at Utilities 400. Steve will be providing a live demonstration of the technology using real-time problem scenarios we've helped our customers resolve. Welcome to the webinar, Steve.
Hello.
Good stuff. Let's crack on. But before we do, just a bit of housekeeping. For your questions, please tweet us on @utilities400 and use the IBM i input hashtag. Now we may not get these until after webinar, so please take note. To join the live discussion, use the management console. You should find this somewhere on the right-hand side of your screen. Within this, you can find the questions tab. Now, please feel free to open this up and ask any questions that you so wish. We'll have a question and answer session at the end of the webinar. Finally, if you've missed something or wanted to walk through the demonstration again, don't worry, we are recording this event. I just checked that we are, and you'll receive a link to the video within the next 48 hours. So that's it for the housekeeping. Pour yourself a coffee, pull up a chair and grab the popcorn as we're about to begin. Okay, so here's what you're going to get from today's session. First, we're going to provide you with some insight into a rise in external data transactions and why this growing volume in B2B transactions and a deviation from EDI needs to be addressed. With the scene set, we'll explore the principles that you should apply to resolve these issues and improve your situation, but through the introduction of reliable automated technologies that are designed for your IBM i enterprise. Following that, in about 10 minutes time, he says hopefully, we'll provide a comprehensive demonstration on how you can pass data from external sources to your IBM i enterprise with complete confidence. And then finally, before closing the webinar, we'll hold a Q&A session. So again, if you do have any questions, please add them to the management console at any time. So first, some insight. Now here are some quick facts that highlight the exponential rise in data transactions. First, over 90% of the world's data has been created in the past 2 years alone. Now imagine that. All data from the dawn of man to 2015 equates to only 8% of the total data created. Every year for the past 5 years, we've seen 100% growth in B2B communications. Indeed, for the next 4 years, this number is forecast to increase. So how does all this equate these figures to actual bytes of data? Well, about 3.2 quintillion bytes of data transferred each day. That's 3.2 trillion million or 3.2 billion, whatever it is, it's mind-boggling amounts of data. But how does this equate to business over the past 10 years? Well, only 10 years ago, the mainstay of B2B transactions were completed through EDI. To give you an idea of volumes, total EDI transactions in the US ran at about 20 million per day. The alternative to this was with XML or disparate file types, but with the varying nature of each meant that, well, 10 years ago, these were never treated as a defined vehicle for B2B transfer. 10 years later, and while EDI is still the mainstay of B2B communications, there has been a huge rise in disparate and XML file types being used. Now, bearing in mind the amount of data being transferred and received have grown exponentially within the past 2 years alone, remember that 3.2 quintillion figure, this number of 50% of non-EDI related B2B transactions is quite simply huge. But what are the drivers behind this change in the past 10 years that sees 50% of the transactions being non-EDI based? And what are the considerations for the IBM I enterprise? Well, there are many factors that the modern IBM I enterprise needs to address. As discussed earlier, EDI has been the integration mainstay. So why is it falling out of favor? Well, it's expensive to implement. First. Secondly, it's complex and structured format that's difficult and therefore time-consuming and expensive to maintain and change. But perhaps more importantly these days is the fact that EDI alone fundamentally fails to address the growing sources and file formats that businesses need to process. Which brings us to the second point. There is a definitive growth in disparate data that the enterprise needs to cope with. Now, this could be from customers sending sales orders via email in a spreadsheet or uploading transport information placed in an FTP folder. And there are many more variations too. Now, as such, the enterprise needs the ability to accept multiple formats of data from many different sources. Then there's the ability to bring in multiple data sets back from different databases. BVs, for example, your own warehousing SQL, or perhaps a product database you build using Microsoft Access. The enterprise needs the ability to draw from these databases, validate, then pass back to the enterprise too. So how do we do it? What would be the best methodology? Well, ideally, we want this flow of data to be controlled using one process. Look at it as this robot waiter, an automated and immediate process that will collect all the multiple disparate data sources and deliver them to your table, that being the IBM I enterprise, a safe and robust and automated process. So no matter the format or data source, there's a robot that will act as the conduit between the external data you receive and your IBM I enterprise. And the same goes for how you accept this data too. You should be free to accept data by numerous means, and you have the robot to serve it up. So accept email attachments, poll FTP directories, or scour networked or internet locations for the file or database that we want to pass this data from. And that's exactly what we do with our IBM I solution, iRoute, that we're going to demonstrate to you in just a couple of minutes' time. And we built this technology on these three principles. First, receive. Receive data from multiple sources and locations, including FTP, email, network locations, and multiple formats, including XML, XLS, CSV, PDF, and databases too, such as SQL, Access, and Oracle. And once we have the data, we're able to transform and validate. For example, to accept a sales spreadsheet that combines date fields in an American date format of month, day, year. However, our UK IBM I enterprise systems use a different format, UK, which is day, month, year, and year variant. So as part of this routine of validation and transformation rules, you can convert these as part of the process. Now, speaking of which, the process should be fully automated. So we can schedule events, poll directories, trigger processes, and automatically pass validated data to the IBM I without user intervention. Okay, but what does this mean for us, that being the IBM I enterprise? Well, let's put ourselves in a company scenario. We'll say that we are No Mean Feet, a sportswear company running our enterprise on IBM. Now, No Mean Feet need to accept electronic orders from their customers, including the likes of Amazon, John Lewis and Sports Online. Now, these big three companies dictate what files they're going to send and how they're going to be sent. But that's not a problem for No Mean Feet, as they're using iRoute to act as a conduit between the external data sources and their IBM enterprise. Not only can they accept multiple file formats by multiple methods, but also apply validation rules too for existence checks, value ranges and the like. Now, normally orders would be entered via their ERP sales order entry option. Using IKEA, that which we saw in the last webinar, our virtual terminal technology, we're mimicking this process, thus removing the manual processes altogether. Removing manual errors and providing facilities for 24/7 data entry that never takes a holiday, is never off or poorly. And on successful update of the database or indeed failed validation, we want to notify the customer of the results. We don't have to use a virtual terminal. In some cases, a customer may wish to write directly to the IBM from the iRoute validation engine. Now, in this case, we're adding a credit check layer for the customers to pass before passing the data to the database tables. And fail or pass, we can again notify the customer of the results and ask them to check and resubmit if necessary. Now, this all sounds too good to be true, right? Well, as they say, the truth is in the pudding. So I'll now pass you over to Steve Close, who will show you this in practice. He will go through a few common scenarios that you may well recognize within your own IBM enterprise. So Steve, let me pass the screen to you.
Okie dokie, I'm waiting.
And
Okay.
off we go with a demonstration.
You can see my screen. Okay, following on from Andy's explanation of what iRoute could do, I'm going to show you how the product can be used to upload data from a few different PC formats. I'm going to show you uploading an Excel spreadsheet or a couple of Excel spreadsheets, a PDF document and an XML document, and at the end I'm also going to talk about uploading from different formats like SQL Server, Oracle Database, Access, all that type of stuff. I'm going to show you how you can run these processes manually or completely automatically without any intervention needed, and also show you how you can both create new tables on the iSeries or add and update records and existing iSeries tables. The first thing I'm going to do is manually upload an XLS spreadsheet that I've got that somebody has sent to us, which basically got sales order details in. Just quickly open it and show you what I mean. Well, it's actually quite a few orders in here actually. I've got a customer number, order number, date, line number, part number, and the quantity orders. The methodology we use for doing this is what we call a script on the PC. So I just flick across to the iRoute product running on the PC. And if I modify the script that I've got there, I can show you all the facilities that will process that spreadsheet. So I'm going to demo 1 here, modify the script. If I click modify all, just take you through the whole process from beginning to end. Okay, the first thing I need to tell the script is what data format I'm going to use. So when I'm creating a new one, and I'll show you this later, that drop-down list becomes active and you can see all the different formats, and you just specify the one you're going to read. And after you've done that, you then point the script program to the actual file you're going to use. So I'm pointing at what we've just seen there, sales order details.xls. So when I click next now, initially you'll have down the left hand side here all the columns in the spreadsheet, but what you do is you can either use these arrows here to just drag across the fields that you want to in the selected fields box, or you can press the double arrow key and it'll take them all at the same time. So those are all the columns that are in my spreadsheet, and those are all the columns I'm going to upload to the iSeries. So when I click next now, it says where do I want to send it to? Well, in this case I'm going to send it to an iSeries. In fact, for the whole purpose of my demo, I'm just going to send data to the iSeries. You can send it to other target machines as well if you want to, like Oracle, or you can send it via different PC formats. So you could use it to convert SQL Server data to Excel spreadsheets if you want to do so. But I'm not. I'm uploading all the data to an iSeries. When I get there, what am I going to do? I'm going to create a new table. That's the iSeries I'm going to load it onto, and this is my file name I want to create, demo.so, in library sclib. I click enter, and now what it's doing, it's asking me for all what I want the iSeries table details to be. It's defaulted the iSeries field names from the column headings of the fields that you've sent. It's worked out the data types from the spreadsheet and the field lengths itself. Though you might sometimes want to change those field lengths. I just click next, take me on to the next section. It says, do you want to save this script? Yeah, it's demo 1. Tick that box so it'll run it automatically. And when I click save now and then run the script, what the product is doing on the PC, on the server, is read the Excel spreadsheet, extracted the data and uploaded it to the iSeries. So I just tab across to my iSeries session here. If I go into option 12, upload history within the iRoot product, you see the top one there, 1524, which is just now. It's uploaded to a file called demo.so in sclib, and it's updating 1,355 rows. If I do a 6 against it, this will show run a query over the file it's just uploaded. So that's the data that has come from the Excel spreadsheet. Converted dates, like Andy said, into a true date format on the iSeries file. Quite simple, but manual process. Okay. The good news is, as Andy said, you can do this automatically. And we can do this in 3 different ways automatically. We can kick off an iRoot script based on 3 different types of events. The first one is by an application creating a file in a folder on your server or on the PC, or indeed anybody just dropping a file into one of those folders, which is what I'm going to do. The second way of triggering it automatically is by the arrival of an email. So if we get emails coming into your server, we can filter them to decide which one we want to process, detach the attachment, and again run the script against the attachment that came with the email. And the third methodology is we can trigger events based on files arriving on an FTP site or on a website. Okay. So I'll just flick back to my iRoot session, sorry, my iRoot program here. What I'm going to do is just show you, first of all, the file detection settings, how you set these up. Basically, this is where we're looking for a file that's arrived on the particular PC in a particular place. So what you do, you specify, you give it a name, then you specify which folder you want to watch. So we've got a folder on our PC called monitor in a directory called iRoot demo data. So the product's going to look in that folder at regular intervals, and it's looking for a file name called shoepromotions.xls. Okay. Now you notice it says x equals wildcard. If you want to do so, you can put wildcards anywhere in that pattern. So wherever it matches, it will find the file and upload it. So you can put sales promotions *.xls if you want to. So any files that begin with sales promotions XLS, it will upload. Okay, so if I just show you this in progress now, in real time, if I go back over here into Windows Explorer, if I go to my Steve's process folder, sorry, it's within iRoot demo data, processed Steve. There's a file here called shoepromotions.xls. So that's got some data that I want to upload to the iSeries. So if I just copy that and paste it into my monitor folder, again it's Steve. Now hopefully, I go in. In a couple of seconds, I think it might already speak. You see that will disappear because the monitor program has now found it, picked up the Excel spreadsheet and uploaded it automatically like we just did manually for the previous one. So I'll go back to my iSeries, go up to the upload history again, and you see there it is at 15:17:45. I did do it twice. It just picked it up so quickly first time, I didn't see it disappear. It's uploaded 4 rows. Now, as you can see, what it says there, this has got validation errors. This data's got validation errors in it. This is an example of how we can manually set validation rules up against any data that's uploaded to make sure we only get valid data uploaded to our iSeries database. How do we do that? Well, what we do is create a definition within iRoot on the iSeries. Now, this definition will read the database that the file that's just been uploaded, and it'll process it, validate it, and process it. If I show you what I mean, these are the kind of things I specify. I specify my input file. Okay, that script I just ran created a file called shoe promotions in a library called iRoot demo. Another thing you can do in result fields in the script is definitions. You can create result fields. So I want to timestamp my records I'm loading, so I created a field called today. And this is where I specify the validation. Okay, validation rules. Externally to each definition, you create a set of validation rules. The one I've used here is a rule called price. If I show you what I mean, basically I've got a rule that says price check. If I view it, what it's saying is, whichever field I attach this to, it says star field there, it means the price has got to be greater than 30 or less than 60. Okay, it's a very simple example. You put all sorts of complicated rules in there by lists, not lists. You can do existence checks on files, so you can validate your customer number and your item numbers or anything like that. You can check things that aren't on file, things don't exist on files if you want to do so. So after I've done that, then I just specify my output file. So from my input spreadsheet, I'm actually going to write two different files here. Typical scenario for that would be I'm going to write an order header at the end after I've written all the detail lines out. Okay, so that is how that methodology has worked. If I now show you how, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that data in my format here. If I open this spreadsheet here, show promotions.xls, see what I'm doing here, you can see in the sharp-eyed view, you'll notice that this spreadsheet has got multiple rows in, but it only uploaded 4 to the iSeries. That's because this is the script on the PC only uploads things where the promotion flag there is a 1. So if I change that price from $71.99 to $59.99, it will then fall into the criteria that should accept the data. So instead of saving it where it came from, if I do save as, and I send it back to my iRoot demo data monitor, Steve, save it in there. So again, it's gone in there, and hopefully it will have picked it up and processed it. So if I go back to my iSeries, oops, go back into my upload history, number 12, still not processed it yet. Just check Windows Explorer, monitor Steve, still there for some reason. Sure why that is, because I've not closed the file. Keep forgetting to do that. It couldn't process it because the file was open, so the minute I save it, it's found it and pulled it up. Okay, so now I'll go back into upload history, and there it is. This time there's no errors. It's uploaded four rows automatically. Now when you do your validation manually within a definition like that, you can specify at what level you want the validation to apply. You can say if there's any errors anywhere in the file, I don't want to upload any data from the file at all. You can do it at group level, so if, as in our file, you've got multiple orders in the file, you can just accept any orders that have no errors in them, or you can say I want to accept every single record that is error-free. So that's a very easy way to take the users to send a spreadsheet, save it into a folder, and it will ultimately get processed and uploaded into the iSeries. Okay, the methodology is very similar for doing uploads from an FTP site or a website. If I just go into here, this is FTP site detection. The difference is what you need to do here is specify the FTP server or the website you're going to get the data from and the credentials to log on to it. So we're logging on with user UTI 400 and the password, communication on port 21, typical FTP routine. But again, you specify the file name. In this case, it's looking for anything that begins with purchase and is an XML file. Yeah? And this is going to be purchase order load via FTP sites. So I'm just showing you there the methodology is exactly the same, except it's doing it from an FTP site. And I do want to exit. And exactly the same for an email. The first screen of the email here is where I just define where my email server is and what my provider is. I can use Outlook, Lotus 123, GroupWise, I think, or just straightforward SMTP. And here I'm just telling you how often it's going to check the emails. What I'm doing here is I'm saying which emails do I want to filter out from my inbox to process automatically via iRoute. So I can say, if I look at my shoe promotions one, I'm only going to do it if the subject contains the word promotions. And I could say also, and the sender is Andrew Nicholson, or whatever I want to do. So I can put a combination of filters in there until I get the right filters to just get the emails that I want. And exactly the same thing, it'll read your inbox, it'll get the attachment, save it to the monitor folder, and then iRoute will process it automatically. Now the beauty of this approach is, especially for FTP site checking, if you've got an example where you've got a delivery company going out to deliver goods to a customer or to an end user, they will normally sign for them. The delivery guy puts it into his PDA, uploads it to their FTP site, and then iRoute picks it up and uploads it into your ERP system. So typically within 30 seconds of something being delivered, your ERP system will know that it's actually not only been delivered, but what date and time it was delivered, and probably who signed for it as well, depending on what kind of information they upload. Okay. The iRoute can also be used to upload PDF documents. So I'll go back to Windows Explorer, into my iRoute demo data. I've got a PDF here which is called Stock Movement Demo PDF. It's actually a PDF that's created from one of our systems, our Sweeten's Open Imprint, which we sell to booksellers and book distributors. So basically this is a stock movement report for a month. It's got an ISBN, the book number, text, and a few figures of the stock that go through. Again, a typical don't close that. A typical PDF that people might receive. So how do I process that? Well, again, I create a script. If I flick over here, I'll modify an existing script. There's one down here called Stock Movement PDF. Now on the iRoute client, there's not a lot of difference here. As we've seen before, basically, I'm just saying, okay, it's a PDF file. Which file it is, again where I want to put it on the iSeries, give it the text, save the script, and then run it. Oops, oh sorry, I didn't run it to the right place, so I'm going here to run it. Start movement.pdf. So I click run. Again, I could have processed this automatically by dropping it into a folder. Now it's reading the PDF document, extracting the data, and sending it up to the iSeries. So I go back into my green screen session, refresh my upload list. You'll see there I've got my from PDF, it's uploaded 121 rows. Now if I look at the display of the upload file, you'll see the format of that is exactly the same as it was in the PDF document, which might be all that you want. But more than likely you're probably going to want to create a definition where you'll split this line into different fields. So I can extract the ISBN number, the title, and all these numeric fields. I'll quickly show you how to do that. I create a definition, which is called Stock Movement PDF. Again, I tell you what my input file is. It's from PDF and sclib. But notice this time I've said I'm going to use what we call block mode. Now, block mode means I've got a block of data and I'm going to split it up into separate fields, as opposed to record mode, which is what I've used before. So when I go into input fields now here, instead of selecting my input fields from the uploaded file, it shows me the whole file itself. And what I need to do is define which lines of data I want to upload to the iSeries. I do that by defining lines down here, F7 equals lines. Okay, so I've defined that I'm going to create a detail line at web position 2 from my PDF is greater than or equal to 0, i.e. that's where the ISBN number is. And that Y for colour there means I'm going to display it in yellow on my screen here. So that means that is how I know I've got the right lines. I can just go through them, make sure I've got the right lines that I want. And if I go back into my line definition, to change fields, what I've done here is define these 6 fields and the positions they are across the screen. I've defined the lengths and decimal places if it's numeric. Now if it's a numeric field, you might have things like full stops in where the decimal places are, and the product's clever enough to align it around the decimal places. You might have commas in it, and again it will take all that type of stuff out and just send the true data up to the iSeries. And then when you run that definition, it does exactly the same thing. In fact, it did do before when I ran it. If I go into the log again, the upload history, to display the log, because you always get an audit log of everything that's happened. It tells you how many records it's read from the file and written it. Okay, and then it's written 89 stock movement records to my database file. So there's always an audit trail of exactly what's happened. Okay, the last real example I'm going to show you is reading an XML document, and then the data that it's passed to the iSeries we're going to input to our ERP through a virtual terminal IKEA script. So if I just go over to Windows Explorer again, I'll show you what I'm going to do, the file I'm going to use. It's in iRoot Demo Data Process, and it's called purchase order extract.xml. So if I go there, purchase order extract.xml. This is the file that my script is going to upload. I'm going to show you the script actually this time because it's quite clever the way it passes XML data. So it's a pretty standard XML file that you've probably all received or sent. It's just got all the tabs and then the data fields and the values. I'll close that. Again, if I just flip across to iRoot now, I'm going to my script, exit that. No, I don't want to do that. I want to go back. I want to modify a script. My script is purchase order extract.xml. So I was going to modify it. And it's purchase order extract, that one there. So if I modify that, again, I'll go through all the steps for you for modify it. So again, I'll tell you what it is, an XML file, and that's the source of it. Okay. Now this is the clever bit here. What iRoot has done on the PC, it's parsed all the XML data and it gives you a structure of all the data here. So it makes it easy to see the structure of your XML documents. It's quite hard if you start doing textually. And to tell it which fields you want to upload, it's just very easy. You just click on one of those there and it puts it over the list over here and it turns it blue. If I click on it again, it takes it out of the list. So you can build a list of fields that you want to upload to the iSeries very, very quickly and easily. Exactly the same concept as before now. The iSeries file I want to upload it to, the field details I want, what the script is going to be. I'll click run immediately so it'll run it for me after I've saved it, the bit I forgot last time. But the key I've got here now is post-processing, because in this script what I've got is after the data has been uploaded successfully to the iSeries, I'm going to run an IKEA script which will key it in through a virtual terminal. Basically, I run a command that says I'm going to read my script from a file called logic UTI dem data. I'm going to read the input data and key it in through the virtual terminal. Okay, now we showed you that everybody that in the last webinar. If you weren't on it and you want to see it, I'm sure if you let us know, we will send you a link to that webinar. So that has uploaded that now. It's parsed it, send it to the iSeries, and again, hopefully, when I go back to my iSeries session, F5 to refresh, you see it's uploaded my purchase order X data from the iSeries, from an XML document. If I go into my log, again it shows you how much you've updated, then it says here post-processing OK. So it's run that IKEA post-processing command, which has gone into our IKEA product and keyed that data in through a virtual terminal session. If I just quickly go into IKEA and show you the history, that's the one it's just done there, 153101. If I show you the session, what it's done is signed onto the green screen, got to the main menu, typed in the name of our sales menu, selected option 1. This is all hard-coded within the script so far. And now this is where it's reading data from the file and keying into the green screen session. So it's entered the customer number. From the file, it's got the delivery address and the order dates, etc. Now it's got delivery instructions from the file. And now it's got 9 records, so for each detail record, it's read the items, put them in there, it's read the quantities and the prices, and enter those into our subfile on the green screen. When I press enter, the application defaults, puts the descriptions in there and the line numbers. Then the application presses enter, presses F8, enter and F8 again and accepts it. So now I'm back to the sales menu and it signs off. A complete script. You won't even notice how fast that is in the background. Signs on, processes the data. So before you get to the iSeries to look at it, it's done it. Okay, that's the last of the live demos. What I quickly want to do before I finish, I'm aware of time, I just want to quickly show you how you process other data formats. And it would be easier if I could just close that down, never mind. If I create a new script, So I'll pretend I'm going to upload an SQL database file. These are the different formats you can select. So you can upload CSVs, Access Excel, SQL Server, 1, 2, 3, XML documents, Oracle database, all sorts of stuff. If I select Microsoft SQL Server, what it defaults to is the SQL Server that is running on this local server. You can change that to be something else if you want to. Just before I can extract the data, I just need to connect to the database. What that's doing is looking at the SQL Server database and bringing back a list of all the databases that reside in there. If I select Customers, then click Next, what it's going to do now is going to bring me back a list of all the tables in the Customers database. And if I select one like Customer Details, this is where again it showed me all the columns that are available in the SQL Server database. If I want to upload them all, I just click OK. And I go through the scenario exactly the same as before, tell it what I want to do, create a new table, the file name, library name, blah, 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 ad infinitum. So the routine is exactly the same as it was before. And that concludes my fairly quick rapid-fire demonstration in my allotted 20 minutes. It's a couple of minutes over. So I will now hand you back to Andy just to round up.
Thank you very much, Steve. And it's important to note that what you saw was a setup once, run always automated processes that businesses can use as an intelligent conduit between multiple data sources and their enterprises. So just to finish up, how would our customers go about using this type of technology? Let's take a case study from Antler. Now they receive multiple data sets in different formats from their partners. In this example, we're concentrating on their logistics partner, Clipper. For example, within their top process, Antler are monitoring and polling the FTP site every 5 minutes for the sales orders to arrive from their logistics partner. Clipper use a Windows-based ERP that exports these sales orders as XML and transports them to the sales orders FTP at Antler. On arrival, iRoute will pick up the XML, pass the data to the IBM I, and we trigger our virtual terminal IKEA to input this data into System 21 using the green screens. This and all the processes you've seen here are done automatically. Finally, we can see integration is double pivoted. In other words, we can respond to data receipts appropriately. In this case, with the weekly receipt of reconciliation data, once processed, Antler send back a report with that details the exceptions. And there are plenty of other ways in which our customers use this technology too. And we would encourage you to think about how this could work within your IBM I enterprise. Please do send us how that would happen. But we've run out of time for today. So if you do have any other questions, please do let us know. If you want to see more, please let us know. But we have a few questions that come from, we got one from Abdul Makdoum. He says, how do you automate the green screen entry? Again, this was through our IKEA solution using the scripts. Would you like to expand on that, Steve?
Yeah, I presume you sent that question before we actually got to that part of the demo. Yes. Yeah, basically, you just upload your file in any way, automatically or manually, so it ends up with a flat file on the iSeries. Then you create a script on the iSeries, which basically says, I'm going to read that file. I'm going to make these keystrokes to get into my application, and then you say, and then these keystrokes come from this field on the file. Basically, the virtual terminal does all the screen handling and puts the data in the right place and processes it all for you. And it will also monitor for errors, of course, that way, because that's the most efficient way of getting your data in, because you've already got the application, it's got all the error handling already written, so you're not reinventing the wheel, but yeah.
Marvellous. And we have one from Jonathan Cope. He asks, is it possible to have my user email a spreadsheet and have it emailed back to them with the results?
Yeah, it is. That's quite clever. Actually, I don't know if you noticed when I was doing the demo, we had a folder that we were monitoring. It was called Process, and it has in there usernames. Basically, that's the technique you could use, because you can tie a username to an email address within the product. And basically, when a user drops a file in that folder, or they email detection picks it up and puts it into that folder, it will process it, and then we use our Route 1 product to send them back the details of the process that's happened. If there's any errors, it will attach the errors to extra columns at the end of the spreadsheet, so they can see exactly what the errors are. Like, let's say on row 7, item's incorrect. So what the user just does is correct the data, resend it or resave it, and it goes through the loop until they've got it right and it's all accepted. It's quite an advanced feature that, but yeah, you can do that.
Fantastic. And finally, from Samuel Steen, can we have a trial of the product?
I would imagine you can, yes.
Yes, absolutely. But please do contact us to have more details on how we can set that up for you. But as I say, we are out of time for today. I would like to take this opportunity of thanking Steve for being our technology guru.
That's
and
fine.
of course to your good selves for joining us. But on behalf of Steve, the Utilities 400 team and myself, I would wish you a very good day. And don't forget to please do contact us with any more questions. Many thanks and
Bye.
goodbye.
It was up to 7 at one time.